left.
The liberation of mutant kind has begun.
Welcome to the future.
Who's this clown?
Not clown. Joker.
Avengers!
Assemble.
Nobody tampers with the equipment except Tony Stark.
Good idea.
United, the Avengers are strong.
Hawkeye, hands off.
Fool! Have you forgotten my invincible magnetic power?
Not this time, Magneto. My mutant brain senses danger.
Something unseen is slowly spreading its poison, edging tempers.
Think carefully before you do this.
You filthy criminals.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Yo, yo, yo. 146 live. I'm alive.
The number is just random. I feel like you're just
It's
like,
not,
yo,
though.
what's up? 632.
We could do that. We could totally do that. Live episode 146 of Two Fat Guys Pull Us. What up, y'all? Back from vacation. Well rested.
I was about to say,
I didn't get home until like midnight last night, so I'm still kind of tired. But it was a great vacation. And yeah, it was we'll get to the grades. Let's talk about business, and then we'll get to the show. First of all, we got to talk about our show sponsor, which is Collected Comics and Games here in the DFW area. That is our LCS that me and Nate go to, where we get our comics, where we get all of our stuff that has anything to do with the show and or anything nerdy. Collected Comics and Games has three locations: one in Fort Worth, one in Dallas. I'm sorry, one in Fort Worth, one in Keller, one in Irving.
which is not Dallas.
Which is not Dallas. Irving is not Dallas. We would love for you, if you're ever in town, to go check those guys out, or if you do live in the DFW area, go check out Collected Comics and Games. They are a great group of stores. Ron and Brent, the whole crew, they will take care of you. But definitely go check out Collected Comics and Games. And they also have a website called BrainyComics.com. It's a great website where you can do any kind of online shopping for exclusive variant covers, bundles, bad idea books, new comics, mystery bags, back issues, graphic novels, games, toys and collectibles, and even trading cards. It's a great website to go do a little bit of shopping. We would love for you to go over there and give some support to BrainyComics.com, which is the website for Collected Comics. And as you can see, I got some really cool stuff at the front. But after you do a little bit of shopping, what you could do is type in Two Fat Guys Pull Us, and this will pop up a Two Fat Guys Pull Us upgrade or premium upgrade. The standard upgrade is $8, which gets you one mystery variant exclusive cover within a comic within your shopping cart, whatever you buy. Or you can do the premium for $15, which gets you two of those. Now, if you didn't notice, most of the prices on these exclusive variant covers are anywhere between $15 to $30. So you're already getting a great deal on the $8 upgrade. But if you do the premium, you're getting almost basically a steal. And so
You're basically a thief.
You are basically a thief. But we would love for you to go over there, do a little bit of shopping, put that upgrade into your checkout before you leave. Pay, obviously. And then when your stuff comes in the mail, please tag us and take a photo and tag us and let us know what you got. We'll see what Ron sent you. So that's the first part of the business. The other is that we're at 998 subscribers as of recording this video. That number does fluctuate up and down. But we're very close to 900, which means we're very close to 950. And when we hit 950 subscribers, you guys know the deal. We're giving away this King in Black issue number 5, 9.8 CBS graded spoiler variant Ryan Stegman cover. This is what we're giving away at 950 subscribers. So if you're not already subscribed, make sure to hit that subscribe button, ring that bell, and give us a like. It'd be much appreciated and help us hit that 950 subscriber goal and ultimately hit the 1,000 sub goal, which we're very close to hitting really right now too. We're very close to hitting most of our goals. When we hit 1,000, CBS graded 9.8, Amazing Spider-Man number 4, Original Sentai, and first appearance of Silk. So you got to hit that subscribe button and we'll give these things away. It's going to be great. All right, that's it for the business. Let's go ahead and talk about this week. I'd give this week I'd give it a solid B. There were some good moments this week for sure. But nothing, I don't want to say nothing blew me out of the water. There is one book that is my pick of the week that I was very happy with.
It's got to be the same book.
Very surprised with. and was just, well, no, I was surprised, but I really enjoyed the book. But other than that, most of the books were just kind of either okay or kind of skippable. And there was maybe one. I think there was only one of those, but there's only one book this week that was like, just don't, whatever. And I was kind of disappointed in that. But overall, I'd give it a solid B for me.
Yeah, I think B's good.
Think B's good. Well, let's get to
I
chat.
would say that one book was so strong that it might push it towards a B plus.
Okay, I'll be interested to see if we link up here. I think we may, but we'll see. Les says, I forgot what happened this week, Joe. I'm surprised we got a live show. Vacation was amazing. Oh, crap. Knights of Steel happened. Yeah, it did. What up, Jaden? Neighborhood, what are you doing? How you doing? Joe, numbers are always random. Hey, guys. Hope everyone had a great vacation and got lots of rest. Definitely got a lot of rest, but then the flight. Hopefully everyone's week was good, though. Patty, John, Mark. Yep. Look at that road cover. It is amazing. Last, not gonna lie, I didn't really like the ending of Dark Knights of Steel. It was reminded me of Dark Ages and Deceased, kind of flat ending and too much of a definitive ending. We'll get to that. Patty, hope all is good. Everything is tip top here. I just brought myself a work van, 1981 Dodge B250 camper van, gonna make for a sick moneymaker. Nice. Amazing Spider-Man was actually good this week. I've actually heard that, but I am not falling for it. What up, Calvin? What up, Phil? Joe, heck yeah. Sup, players, all dope homies be here tonight. What up, Eric? Yeah, it was good. Yeah, there were just a couple books that I felt were fun, and then we had some books that ended this week, and some of them were fun, but I don't know how I feel about it. So let's just get right into it. We got Deadpool issue number 10, the final issue from Wong. I can't say I was satisfied, if that makes any sense. And I know that sounds kind of hypocritical because I was talking about how endings in Marvel books either fall flat or they're kind of open-ended. And this one actually kind of felt like a definitive end for Deadpool, even though there were a bunch of dangling story plot points that hopefully we see later on down the road. Like, the Carnage dog, Deadpool's relationship, all of that. But it just felt, it didn't feel like it should have ended here, if that makes sense. Like, it felt like it could have kept on going. Did it have an oh shit moment? Yes. Like when, I forget the name of his Valentine. When she was the horn, like basically possessed by the horn being, and she was like literally like blowing people up with horns. That was pretty sick. Like that was really cool. And obviously the Deadpool humor was on point. I think Alyssa Wong did, she kept it true to the character for sure.
Yeah, there's no doubt about that.
So overall, if I was talking about the entire run, I really enjoyed it. It made me feel like it was on its own. It was doing its own thing. It was very enjoyable. I feel like it ended way too early. I think we could have. I kind of wish we had another whole arc of story outside of this assassins group. That's how good it was. But the ending to me just felt like, oh, and we're over. It just kind of, it was an ending, right? And it wasn't one that I think, for the most part, didn't feel out of place, but it just felt rushed, in my opinion.
Who do we blame for that, though?
I don't know, because like I bet if we were to interview Alyssa Wong, she'd be like, no, this is the story I planned, and it was always going to be 10 issues. Like I feel like we'd get that kind of answer. No. You don't think so?
I'm not talking about what kind of answer we would get. I'm curious what the truth is.
Well, and I don't know. Well, we would never get that. So if we're going to assume, we have to assume it's a Marvel editorial It's a Marvel editorial
Yeah,
thing.
I'm sure this was just the second of many planned arcs that Alyssa Wong had ready to go for this Deadpool book, and she, for whatever reason, was not able to tell those stories. But I think that we can tell pretty definitively by the way that this ends that this was not the way she intended to end her series.
Okay.
I don't think this is the story that she goes, yo, Marvel, I got 10 amazing issues of Deadpool. You ready? Here it is. And then this is what it is. I don't think that
Okay.
that's what's going on here. So I'm just gonna proactively blame
Editorial.
I'm going to blame CB Sobolski and
Jordan D. White.
Jordan D. White. Yep, I'm gonna blame them on it.
Okay.
But other than that, one thing that Alyssa Wong did throughout this run that like happened a billion times in this particular issue was how sub Deadpool was to Valentine. Like how many times she literally was like, at one point she was like, I'm the new person now, who will submit? And he's like, I volunteer. Like,
yeah.
I think that is a really wonderful take on the character, that a guy that like literally cannot be killed, that's like a badass to like so many different readers. It's like a total sub to his partner in the bedroom. I think that's really funny.
So people are asking, who are going to be, who do you think is going to be the next Deadpool writer? So I know Rob Liefeld is having like his own little like bringing back the writer. Yeah, and I am definitely ew on that. But I think Joe and John bring up really good writers, Jim Zeb or Kyle Starks. I think both of those are perfect candidates to write.
God, Kyle
Deadpool.
Starks would be fucking
perfect. He'd be kick ass.
Only though if you let him have as much freedom as he has in the Peacemaker series. Like,
yeah, I'd say Peacemaker, and even with the current book that he's on right now with Marvel. But anyway, yeah, Deadpool, overall I'd give it a solid A- as a series, as an entire arc of a book. But I think the ending was just a little, it definitely felt rushed. Like I think the front end of the book felt natural, and then just like a montage of what Deadpool was doing, it just felt like, yeah, and we're ending now, and so I guess I agree with you. Like, it's editorial, it's their fault. Now, I mean, I bet if we were to ask Wong on Twitter, or I'm sorry, X, she would tell us otherwise, but that's probably the more politically correct thing to say if she wants to keep a job at Marvel.
Sure, yeah, no, I would, if anyone was to say what's a good Deadpool run, I would definitely suggest people read this one as like a standalone Deadpool run. Like, it's just good on its own. It doesn't matter. Continuity doesn't matter. Character history doesn't matter. Just knowing the most basic of understanding about Deadpool.
Ooh, Chip Zdarsky would be dope too.
That would be pretty cool.
Yeah. All right, next up we have Immortal Thor issue number 1 from Al Ewing and Cuculo. This is your pick of the week?
Like, very hard.
Well, go ahead. I'll push the button.
What?
No, go ahead. This is your pick of the week.
That's Nate's pick of the week.
I was not. I'm gonna be absolutely honest with you, and I'm probably gonna be a complete downer. I wasn't impressed.
Oh, then you literally don't. You just need to
no.
for yourself right now.
That's fine. I think just hear me out, and then you can be mad at me. I feel like Thor, specifically, the concept of Thor right now is in such a tailwind because of the amount of times I don't know if this is a discussion and or a critique on Thor himself, or if it's just the state of Marvel, but I feel like it just, I don't know. Like, for me, the continuity with Thor right now is just all over the fucking place. And I just like, as a reader, coming from what I've read from Jason Aaron's run, right? And then going into Donny Cates, and then coming into Al Ewing, right? It's just, I couldn't, I just couldn't get into it. Now, there were things in the book itself that I really did enjoy. Like, I loved Loki. I like their characteristic, or the character in Ewing's book of Loki. I like how they're being portrayed. I like that we don't quite necessarily know where Loki is at. Are they good? Are they bad? Are they truly caring for Thor, or are they doing things on their own end? But for me, just like, with Donnie, for instance, in his run, it was epic. It was metal. There was this massive threat, and it felt believable. It did. Like, when we heard about Black Winter, we were like, oh shit, like, holy crap, that is such a crazy concept, an actual big threat that I could believe. And that sounds stupid. It's comics, right? But with this thing, with Al Ewing's thing, I felt it didn't hook me like his Immortal Hulk, right? Like the concept of the Green Door and immortality and all this thing. With Thor, I felt like I was reading
You don't get the Green Door until like issue 15.
Right, I know that, but like what I'm saying
is,
gonna
get hooked by Green Door level things.
Then let me rephrase that. What I'm saying is I just didn't. I don't know what I was expecting for the book, but what I got, I was not. After reading it, I wasn't like, holy shit, I am in. I was like, I don't know. It's not that I didn't enjoy it. I thought the book was fine. Like, it's not like, I'm not saying I'm done, I'm not reading this. I'm not saying that. But I did not get the same tinglies. I did not get the same feels like I did when I read Donny Cates' run. I didn't get the same thing like when you were like, hey, you need to go check out Jason Aaron's Thor run because it's fucking amazing. And like I remember reading it, and I was like, ooh, like I'm in. Like I am eating this up like cereal on Sunday morning watching Saturday morning watching cartoons. It just felt like work, in my opinion, to read it. And like, like the I got the same feeling I got when we got when did we get the preview? That was in the last Thor book, right? Like we got
that was in the Thor annual,
right? And we were already getting a sense of like, oh, we're going back to the classic this, and we're getting rid of this and doing that, and it just felt like a complete wash. And I think that's what's frustrating to me. And I could probably almost say bring this critique over to Deadpool in the sense of endings. I think that's the problem with comic books at the moment, or comic books in general. Like the concept of it is like there's just so much continuity that you have to potentially remember, but then at the same time you'd be like, you know what? Fuck continuity. We can do this instead. And that's fine. And sometimes it's really fun. And for me, I'm kind of and this is all me personally. I'm not trying to like say this is what it should be. It's just for me, when I read it, it felt like we had some semblance of continuity, but we were also saying like, nah, we're doing our own thing. And that's fine. But I just wasn't excited when I read it. And then when we got to the whole, like this alternate, like basically Titans, like the Greek Titans, right? Of Asgardian gods, like, these massive beings that control the superstorm and like all this shit. I'm like, what are we? It didn't connect to me. It didn't feel. I know. I'm sorry. I just didn't.
I don't know. Like
maybe I need to go reread it. But when I read
it in the worst setting you could have possibly read it.
No, I was because I don't think so, because there were other books that I read on the plane that I was like, this is great. Like
I think that further proves my point that you read a book this week and you thought any of them were better than this one. Shows that you were not in the right state of mind.
Okay, well then tell me why I'm wrong. Why was this such an amazing book? Because to me,
I can't tell you why you're wrong. I'm just saying, like,
the reestablishment of the Rainbow Road feels lazy. The fact that we're just like,
I don't know why it was established. That's the whole point. That's one of the best parts of the book. Is that there's this massive mystery with Loki that you have no idea what's going on. How did Loki gain the ability to do this? Why is he apologizing to Thor in his head for doing this? Like,
and for me, asking those questions is frustrating. Whereas for other readers, it's like the intrigue.
What else are you supposed to do in an issue 1?
I don't know.
Set up plots.
I don't know. But
okay,
all I'm saying is the way, for me, it just didn't work. I just didn't like it. Okay.
Before we can move on, I want to answer a couple things in chat.
Okay.
Joe Wong is the new Captain Marvel writer, by the way. Joe asked, when did Floki come out as non-binary? I'm not reading his series, but never heard him call himself a goddess. That's actually from 2008, the Disassembled storyline. After Ragnarok happens and all the gods die, Loki comes back as a goddess. That was actually to coincide with actual Norse mythology, whereas Loki doesn't have set gender. Loki's one of the few Aesir that's not gendered throughout the original Eddas, like in like where we get the primary sources of Norse mythology. He's never gendered in there. So that's where that came from. I think it was Kieran Gillen that wrote the Journey into Mystery series that did that. What else? There was one more. Joe said Mortal Thor was pick of the week. Good. Glad someone else understands. Not a big Thor fan, and I was turned off by not getting Thanos and the zombies. Well, that's because Donnie got in a car wreck. That's gonna happen. Ewing is going to fix that. You're gonna hear it first. It might be a year or two from now. Not only do I think Ewing hits the Black Winter storyline, he brings in Donnie Cates as a co-writer.
Okay, so if that happens, if that genuinely happens, if we get Thanos, the Black Infinity Stone, the Mjolnir, all of that, if that actually happens, then I'll be back on board, because I think, and I know this is selfish, because again, you're right. Donnie got into an accident, fucked up his head, and that's the reason why, and that's not his fault. That's fucking life, right?
Yeah.
And sorry, Patty, for cursing when we're on the projector. I think, and I said it on New Comic Book Day, I need to drop the idea of Donny Cates' Thor at the door. And I just, for some reason, subconsciously, I couldn't do it. And so reading it, I was just getting frustrated. I was like, God damn it, I want to see that. I want to see, because I felt like Thor was dealing with his mortality and or mentality with the Black Winter. That whole idea of him knowing how he was going to die and that massive mystery. And it's just like, and then Grombeck gets thrown and says, hey, you need to finish this run, but don't really worry. Do it how, kind of fix this thing, right? Like, just so we can just put a bow on it and maybe come back to it later. And I guess I'm just still frustrated with that, because I think Grombeck is an amazing and strong writer, and she just got thrown to the wolves on that aspect of it. And so for that massive mystery metal thing to be there, and then it's like, oh, well, Thor is even dealing with his own Black Winter. Oh, look. Oh, he talked about it. And then we go on to this other mystery thing that he set up, and he has every right to do that. It's Ewing's run, right? But I just feel cheated. And I think the allure for me of Ewing being the writer was immediately just poof for me, washed away. And I know that's not fair. It's not fair to Ewing, because he's definitely setting up a really cool story. Because there were moments in the book where I was like, yo, this is cool. Like when he went and fought the Frost Giants and told the Snowstorm to go away. I was like, ha, that's fucking cool. Like, that's just, like, he's not throwing the hammer, right? The expectation is that he's going to, and he's like, hey, Snowstorm, go away. He goes away. And I was like, that's dope. And then we still got the massive metal Thor, throwing the hammer and blowing up a Frost Giant's head. Like, that was sick. I think for me, the introduction of these, it almost felt like a Jason Aaron Avengers towards the end kind of situation, where it's like, oh, here's the next big baddie. And to me, I thought we were going to be dealing with more of, and we may still be, but just the amount of thick mystery in that at the back end of the book with these beings, we don't know what they are, where they're above gods, right? That's why I say titans, just because I'm kind of like matching it with like the Greek gods. Before that, there were the titans, and then before the titans, there was Gaia. That's what I'm saying. Like, so to me, that's the direction we're going in, and I still can't get over Black Winter, and it's subconsciously it's ruining it for me. Sorry.
I mean, there's not anything I can say, because I will, if I say it, it's just I just disagree with every single thing you said, but just the opposite. Like
Mhm.
I thought like I'm sorry, there's no way anyone on the planet is going to convince me that this is not the best panel that Marvel Comics has printed in the year 2020.
Okay.
You're never going to
That's cool.
convince me otherwise. That is the best panel 2-page spread that they've done all year long, and they will not top it. I don't I don't know what to say. That's just not the opposite of that. I thought I thought this was the perfect introductory book for someone that's never read a Thor book, which is what you're supposed to be doing every single time you restart a book. We don't like that as readers because we don't need that introduction. But one thing that Al Ewing's job was to do was to make it at least somewhat friendly to new readers. And I think he nailed the fucking shit out of that while also not making it bleak and boring and repetitive for a reader like me that has read many Thor #1s. I thought the fact that he alluded to Black Winter not only shows that he's probably going to be touching up on it again, but was a nod of respect to not only Donny Cates, but to you as a reader to say, hey, listen, I didn't cause this issue, but this is still here. This is still recognized. Like, I don't know. To me, that's anything but a positive is mind blowing to me.
I am hopeful. I am. If he does do that, that's great. I'm not saying it was just like a dead, like 100%. I hated this book. I don't know where my expectation was, but it, for some reason, didn't meet it when I read it. I don't know why. I don't know.
This book did everything we could have possibly wanted to do. We got Loki as an introspective character, where once again you start thinking, wait, is he good? Is he bad? He's good now. And then he does the Bifrosting where he brings it back, and then he goes, no, actually, I'm sorry, and I'm disappearing. And you're like, God damn it, he did it again. Like, how does this keep happening? Like, Al Ewing flips the script and breaks the fourth wall during his own narration of the story. He sits there with Loki. Loki says, where else would I be but where the stories are? And then the narrator's voice, who is not supposed to be Al Ewing, says, and this is true in a fashion, but not all the truth. For every storyteller is a liar, a trickster, and a traitor. Our first allegiance is always to the tale. He breaks the fourth wall and even says, you can't even trust me as the writer. Like, that's some next level shit. It just like bumps me out so much that people could just say this was not good. It makes me so sad.
Well, again, let me rephrase. Maybe not good. I just don't. I think with my expectations not solidified, not concrete, I just didn't know where to land with the book. And maybe I need to reread it. I'm sure I do, because I was on a plane, there were a bunch of screaming kids, but at that point when I was reading it, everyone was chill. So like, it was the second book I read. So I don't know. I don't know.
I think my favorite part was the juxtaposition of the beginning and the end. You have a long book, and in the beginning of the book, Thor goes, what the fuck do you think you're doing? And the Ice Giant's like, what are we talking? What are you talking about? Of course we're gonna come here and whoop your ass. And he's like, I ain't talking to you, dumbass. I'm talking to the fucking storm. And then the storm runs away scared. And then he's on Midgard, the place he loves the most, with a storm. And he's like, hey, calm down. This is a good storm. I like this. But it's a little too much for my little humans. A little too puny. And then the storm kicks his ass. The thing we just saw him tame like a little child was put into a perspective that it made me think that this is like a big bad that is on a much different, more threatening level than anything that made me think Black Winter was.
Okay.
Or at least maybe it feels that way because it's new. But I will also say, too, that after I read this, I was so excited about it that I was like, there's something here that is tickling my brain. There's something here that's tickling me. And I had to go back to the very beginning where that weird quote that's in the beginning that like kind of reads awkward, and then the last line is understand ye yet or what? He keeps repeating that throughout. That's because that's from the original text of the poem of the elder Aedas, which is a poem was written in the 1100s in Iceland that tells the history of Norse mythology. And every other page in the book I think it's every 3 pages in the book, follows or at least has something to do with every line in that poem. And he was able to fit his story throughout the whole poem of what's going on, including Loki, because that's how it's written, but Loki's betrayal in some sort of fashion. Oh, there's Loki again, betraying us in some way. And I don't know, man. I don't know. I think this is probably not only is this my pick of the week, I think this has been my top 5 books. Maybe that's why I was just so surprised when you said you didn't like it.
I don't know. I don't. It's not. Let me rephrase. It's not that I didn't like it. It just didn't. It didn't move me, and I don't know why. I really don't. And I think we did know why. It's subconsciously, I'm still frustrated at the fact that we didn't get Thor's end to the Black Winter. We didn't get Thanos. And if because I think that was, I remember when that leaked, when we heard about it and we saw like a glimpse of it on X, and we both were like, whoa, shit. Like, that's like, we know Donny Cates's history with Thanos and how he, really changed the game with the character. And you're kind of thinking, like, how do you do that? Well, Donnie's so good at really fucking around and making characters become more just more appreciative of them and what they're actually capable of doing. Like, he was able to, like, well, fuck it, I'm gonna have Silver Surfer be able to carry Mjolnir and beat the shit out of Cosmic Ghost Rider. You're like, what? That sounds crazy. And so I think that expectation just kind of is still floating in my subconscious, and I'm like, I want to see that. I want to see it. Yep. And it just felt like we were kind of washing that away. So anyway,
what was the expectation that Al Ewing was going to do that?
I know it's unfair. It's unfair and unreasonable. I completely agree. I'm not saying.
I'm not saying that. I'm just saying. I'm asking genuinely. Am I the weird one by thinking that new writers are going to pick up stories that are left behind by other writers? I'm being genuine. Like, is that something that a lot of people expect that I just don't expect? Or
no,
is it just that we want it so bad that
I think we want it so I think we want it so bad because I think that idea moved the community. When it came out, people were like, oh shit, like, that is huge. And it felt like a very big Donny Cates move that everybody was expecting but was totally surprised when it was announced, right? Like, we were like, what's Donny gonna do next, right? Because the idea of Cosmic Ghost Rider, everybody was like, oh shit, right? And then, his his Guardians of the Galaxy run, they're gonna resurrect Thanos. Oh shit, and Silver Surfer Black was fucking amazing. Like, so there were we were all waiting for this massive thing. Like, what is the Black Winter going to do outside of, say, Thor, I know how you're gonna die? In and itself is an amazing and crazy concept. And then when we got the glimpse of how he actually was gonna die, you're going like, holy shit, like, that's not how else would Thor die? You know what I mean? Like, that's pretty goddamn metal. No. So I think in this instance, yeah, I think, and it may be a burden and or a storyline that isn't completely unfair to Ewing to say, we expect you to bring this back into the fold. And I'm not saying it's right, and I'm saying it sucks, because at the end, I really do want Ewing to write the story he wants to write. But if he gives Donny Cates the platform to co-write that as an arc within his Immortal Thor and even make it a pillar of the book, then yeah, you got me. But it felt, and you know what it is? This is it. I've coming to the realization as you were talking. I didn't come to that conclusion of, like, at the beginning of the book, Thor is telling a storm, go away, puny storm, right? And then on the back end, like, I just didn't, the whole concept of the Superstorm character, which what's the name of the character? Thor Grocker. I don't remember. Thor Glocker. Thor or something. Like that. See, and even that to me, I'm like, what? Huh?
But that's literally from the original Norse, so it's not like a bad name that he made up.
No, it's not a bad name. It's Al Ewing. It's being fucking smart. Thor. Yeah, he's being ridiculously smart, like he always does. And so there was just a like my brain was like, I don't know how to pronounce this, so like I'm just completely not even like I'm not connecting the dots, and that's my fault. So I'll reread it again with that. But as of right now, I just don't know. I just wasn't there.
We'll see. We'll see how it goes.
Yeah, we'll see how it goes. All right, let's move on to the next book, and that is Invincible Iron Man issue number 9, aka Hellfire Gala
Postscript
5.0. Like I don't know how many. Anyway, I you know, when it was announced that Tony and Emma were gonna get married, and you like everybody in the comic books universe like heard and felt your eye roll. You're like, God, you know, like you were the fuck, right? What was established in this issue, and if it was intentional or unintentional, that remains to be, you know, we'll see as we read the book. The chemistry and lack thereof on and off between Tony and Emma in this book had me. I really enjoy their relationship. I like their back and forth, and I like when Tony surprises Emma and vice versa. And in this issue, it was more of Tony surprising Emma in how he was treating her and dealing with her and trying to console her with the loss of her daughters and her entire nation. I'm kind of in the same boat with you, Nate. Like, I gave Iron Man as a character a shot outside of Avengers comic books and was kind of like a toss of 50-50. And, you know, the previous run was really good. And then we jumped into Gary Jerry, and I was kind of hopeful because I was like, hey, I like his writing, and he's surprised me. And so this, for me, I really enjoyed. Like Calvin says, never thought I'd ship them. Like, I'm in that boat. Like I'm the more and more that we're getting closer to this idea of them getting married, and they're just how Gary Jerry is kind of having them kind of flirt with arguing, and they're dealing with these situations, whether it's Fei Long or Rhodes being in jail or getting a secret identity for Emma. I liked it. I thought it was really fun, and when it ended, I was like, well, damn it, I want to see more. I want to read more. And so that aspect between Tony and Emma feels like a slice of life, unintentional slice of life storyline. Yeah. Which if you've been watching the show lately, that is the story those are the kinds of stories that have been drawing me in lately. Yeah. And so I enjoyed it. Is it my pick of the week? No, but I'm still wrapped up in what Gary Jerry's doing in this basically Fall of X tie-in book. Because and not to say we're not dealing with Tony Stark issues, like the whole Rhodes in jail thing, like that's a big deal. Like that's a huge thing. And good night. Sorry, my son just walked in and told me he's going to sleep, even though he should be in bed.
I'm
past
about
2
to have
hours.
the same thing here, probably about.
Anyway, I liked it. I thought it was fun. I enjoyed it.
Yeah, this was very much like this feels like kind of like a soap opera a little bit. It's just got a lot of drama to it. Like a lot of different phases. We're dealing with the Sentinels and Fei Long. We're dealing with Emma. We're dealing with Rhodey in jail. She-Hulk's involved. Now we're throwing in Fisk too. It's just like Jerry did a really good job at cramming a lot into 27 pages, yet not making it feel like any of those particular things was rushed. Like they all felt like they had their own shines. Somehow, still a good Iron Man book. 9 issues in,
and I'm going to say this now. We alluded it to before. When they get married, if Hellcat is not like if someone says, does someone object? If her hand doesn't go up, and then She-Hulk's like, put that fucking hand down. Like I hope that happens because I think that would be amazing. So, do you think they should have had Tony Stark go to Patsy and give her comfort on what's about to happen between? I think it might still happen, Joe. I think that Gary Jerry would be foolish to not include something with Hellcat. But we'll have to wait and see. It was Gary Jerry that was doing the Riri Williams Power Ring stuff, right? Or was that?
Yeah.
Okay. We'll see. But yeah,
it was like issue 2 and 3.
John, I hope they last longer than Tony and Patsy. The X Office actually having a decent concept with Emma and Tony for future of the mutant kind. Wish we had a future at what could happen. The show loves slice of life, silly goose. Yep, that should be on a shirt. We will work on it. I think it would be more realistic. Yeah, I don't know. I thought it was a good issue. I love Fei Long as a villain. I think he's perfect. He's a
frustrating villain for sure.
He is definitely, and so it, even though there's like crash bang boom pow kind of action in this book, there's also this slapstick argument, cunning back and forth chess game going on, and then you have the slice of life with Emma. And God, did I not love the fact that when she was like, well, what if they're dead? Like, what do I do? And he's like, you avenge them. I was like, oh, like I loved that. I thought it was fucking cool. I don't know. It was fun.
Yeah.
All right. Jean Grey, issue number 1. I initially reading it, I was a little frustrated. Like when I started reading it, I was like, oh no, kind of like, we're doing, this is a kind of like going back almost and writing something kind of thing. But it was more of, hey, this happened, and now you're going to see what happened when this group of mutants who went into the future and then came back to their present, and how they dealt with their shit, right? And how Jean basically ended up becoming her own worst enemy. And is it factual that actually happened, or is this just like a what if?
It's like a what if.
What if? Okay.
Yeah.
I genuinely thought it was pretty cool. I like that I don't have much history with Jean Grey. So reading this I thought was a lot of fun. But initially I was like, oh no. But then as I continued into the story and it progressed and Jean got darker and darker and darker, and she like moved into her Phoenix persona, and she was starting to lash out at other mutants within the group. And then when Hank literally made them Cerebro helmets to fight her, I was like, that's kind of cool. Like that felt like a Donny Cates kind of thing. All that being said, I think I'm going to stick with this one. I think I'm going to write it out, the next 2 issues, and read it, because I think it's really fun. I had all the intention to say I'm going to read 1 and probably done, but I liked it. I genuinely liked the issue. I thought the writing didn't feel too clunky. It felt good. I liked it.
I was not going to read this one, and then I just was like, you know what? It's Louise Simonson. I really do like her writing, even though it's a little outdated. Which, by the way, before I say the nice things, I am going to point out the one thing that she did very wrong, and it's like, she needs a better proofreader, because I know Louise Simonson's a little bit older. She's been writing, in her prominent writing age was the 80s and early 90s, but like we don't refer to our indigenous characters as natives, and we don't use the R word or vegetable word when we refer to somebody that has had brain damage. Those were very dated 80s, really awkward things that really stood out to me in this book. But other than that, I had a lot of fun with the what if aspect of the story, which is kind of not my thing. I don't usually do what ifs that much, but in this particular one, I thought it was pretty neat.
Well, it makes me want to read the story that it's saying a what if from, which I have part of it.
Oh yeah, because that was exterminators or something. Because it was Pepe the Roz, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I can't remember. That's like the event where they get sent back.
Extermination.
Extermination. Yeah.
Because I won that on like a raffle or something.
Right. I'll probably read the next one. I don't know that I'm particularly interested in what is this, 5 issues?
I thought it was 3. Maybe it is 5.
Sure. I just don't know that I'm interested in a mini series where we're doing a flashback on Jean Grey. She's not like my favorite character. It's really doesn't seem like it's going to be very heavy in being involved in pushing the plot of Fall of X forward. We've obviously got 0 plot progression of Fall of X in this book, so I think issue 2 will depend on how the month is. If it's a light month, I might read it. If it's a heavy month, it'll probably just for me.
So the second book is The Darkest Period in Jean Grey's history. The Dark Phoenix has haunted Jean Grey since it emerged from Jamaica Bay, but what if the Phoenix had chosen someone else? The love story of Cyclops and Jean Grey is one of the most beloved in Marvel Comics history. Now witness the legendary creator break their hearts and their minds. But this is no what if. Jean Grey is not where she is meant to be, and neither is the rest of mutant kind. Stunning secrets will be revealed as Jean Grey lays the groundwork for her next shocking appearance in the Fall of X. So maybe she...
all of this is happening in her mind while she's in
dead.
the in-between of being dead and wherever you go next.
Also,
And-
just to give you why you're going to pick up issue 2.
Mm-hmm.
Right? He didn't say a word because we know he's going to. So there it is, guys.
All right, well, you got me.
You got me. Anyway, yeah, I thought it was fun. I'm out of all the current tie-ins, this one's pretty fun.
I'm calling it now. She self-resurrects.
You think so?
Mm-hmm.
Or it's the Phoenix that resurrects her?
Something. It's not the 5 that resurrect her. The 5 aren't in play. She needs to be there. She's got to use. Her brain is so much bigger than even Professor X, so she's got to be there. So she's gonna self-resurrect or use the Phoenix or something.
I love it. I love it. All right, next up we have Marvel Unleashed, issue number 1 from Starks.
That's Chips. Pick of the week.
This is my pick of the week.
Bro,
I
not read you this week at all. I thought you were not gonna like this.
I didn't think I'd like it either. But
I thought you weren't gonna like it after I read it. I was like, he's not really gonna.
No, I fucking loved it. I love that one of the main characters is called D-Dog, and it's literally Dog, who's wearing a chewed up Wolverine mask and trying to be a superhero. Like, I loved this book. I thought the artwork was fantastic. The humor was on point. I had so much fun with this book, and it just got me. And then at the end, when Throg is just sitting there going like, yeah, bitch, I'm next. Come on, get me.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, dude. And then like to have Blackheart, who is like looking like a fucking beast, be basically the villain in the book. I don't know, man. Like, it got me. And it got me like 3 pages in when D-Dog showed up. And every time she would talk, I was just like, this is fucking funny. Like, when they were in the mansion and she's like, bird. And then it's the hawk. It's Hawkeye's pet, right? And then the cat shows up. Cat! Like, I just fucking loved it. I don't know, man. I liked it. And like, the fact that we only had D-Dog, the Flurkin, the Hawk, and Hawkeye's dog show up with, Lockjaw obviously part of like this whole portal thing. So he, he's involved, but he's not. And we haven't even gotten to Throg, who's going to be in the next issue. And we haven't even gotten to Bats. I'm excited, but Starks knows how to, like, the flow of his narration, the flow of his comic is good. And it makes me, I hearken it back to our first days of when we were reading comics, when we were like, God damn, this is fun. It was fun. And it just had me kind of rolling. Like, I was literally on the plane kind of like laughing out loud every time. Like, I was laughing the entire book. And then when it got serious, the whole AIM debacle in the laboratory was fun and kind of shits and giggles, silly goose time. But then when they got to the cave and we got to the cave and the scientist, the AIM scientist, is talking to Blackheart, I think his name, I can't remember his name. And I'm like, oh, and then it got like, it got super serious. And they're sitting there going like, oh shit, like this is kind of above our pay grade. We need to call Throg. And he's just sitting there, with his hammer kind of being like, yeah, bitch, come get it. Like, I'm ready to go. I'm ready to roll some heads. I don't know, man. It had me. I just thought it was great.
Well, good. I'm glad. Yeah, I thought it was good too. I knew it was going to be tame, like as far as like profane levels, but I was just kind of hoping that maybe it would be a little bit a little bit more crude, but it certainly didn't need to be in order to be worth it.
And it may get there. Like when Bats shows up, when Throg and Bats show up, it may get there.
Yes, it may. Also, is that a Wolverine mask?
To
or
me,
is
it looks like the old orange and yellow Wolverine mask.
I could have sworn they said it was like some D-lister. It doesn't matter. I'm just
It may be,
curious.
but it reminded me. Every time I saw it, it looked like Wolverine's mask. Like when he had the brownish red and orange.
Yeah. Okay.
Costume.
I'm gonna show you a picture and you're gonna get irritated.
Okay.
It's Demolition Man.
Demolition Man. Okay.
Yeah, copy image. But I've never heard of this guy. I've never seen this. But
And that's
this
fine.
is his costume.
Ugh.
What? That's just a Wolverine ripoff. Like, what is
It's a
that?
Wolverine Daredevil ripoff.
Yeah, that's literally just a smash together of both of those.
Yep.
Anyway, weird.
I don't know. I loved it. I thought it was great. I thought it was fun, and I'm putting it on my poll. I'm just gonna. It's a mini. I'm gonna do it. I'm pretty excited for it. I thought it was a lot of fun, and I really can't wait to see. Yeah, Blackheart. I can't wait to see Throg. I can't wait to see Bats. I can't wait for Bats to just be a total ass the entire time. I think this is gonna be a sleeper. I thought it was really great. Yeah, Demolition Man mask. I always thought Stallone could use that suit in the movie. There you go. But anyway, I liked it. I thought it was fun. I thought it was a neat way to kind of integrate these pets, integrate other villains. And like the fact that Blackheart is kind of the main villain right now, and he's going up, like, it just feels silly, and I like it.
Yep.
That's me.
Well,
That's my pick of the week.
Good.
Yeah.
Oh, that's something, but
tell me.
tell you what.
Wait, what?
What was the point of this book? I can't tell you. Like, if the proposal was, if this had nothing to do with Fall of X, and Groenbeck was just like, yo guys, I want to do like this, like quasi Asgardian 10 realms, New Mutants kind of mashup with my favorite characters. Y'all cool with that? I would have been like, all right, that's cool. Let's read it. But as soon as you go, well, this is prevalent to the Fall of X and pushing that plot forward, I've got some expectations, and those expectations were clearly lost on me because I have no earthly idea why this book matters to me as a reader that's barely even cares about Fall of X at all. I mean, just barely cares. And it's books like this that are just not going to make me care more. I don't know. It felt a little trudgy to me, and especially when I got to the data page that could have been 7 pages of novel text put into like 8-point font and then put it in like weird / Norse print. I was like, there's no way in hell. Like you can offer me a Chris $20 bill and I'm not reading that shit. So I don't know if that's what you were looking for, if that's what you're expecting, but like, I also just don't like. Saturnine appeared and I was like, oh brother, we've done this before. I don't care. Like this weird awkward curse girl like running around with her weird choppy head. Like, I don't care. I don't care at all. This is all the emotions that you kind of laid out with Thor kind of just feel like this book to me. I just was like, what?
Yeah.
Okay. I just wanted to make sure.
Ditto. All right, let's talk about X-Force. I
don't know. I don't know what good things to say. Like,
it's not.
And I hate it because it's Groenbeck.
It's
like,
Groenbeck,
really
exactly. It's Groenbeck, and I unfortunately will not be reading issue 2. I'm out. Like I'm.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
I can't do
100%.
I'm out, unfortunately. And if if anybody else continues to read it, let us know. Let us know, man, because I know this is probably your favorite book ever, and you're gonna tell us exactly how good it
He's
was.
gonna stab you.
I know he is. But let us know. I mean, if you can, you're gonna read it. You'll let us know how good.
He didn't. He said didn't read. Tired of X-Men.
I know.
But the worst part is that doesn't even make sense because X-Men and D&D seems like that would be an amazing, but it's not working. It's not working.
No. All right, X-Force issue number 43, The Fall of X. You know, in New Comic Book Day, I basically said like it feels like this book is kind of operating outside of what's actually like formal canon of The Fall of X, even though it's basically a pillar, a structural pillar of The Fall of X because of Colossus and him being the betrayer, right? And we're paying off this thing after almost 4 years of him being the betrayer, and it just feels like Percy got the first draft of what was going on in the X office when Hickman was running it, and it's like he still has it, and he's like, I'm over here, I'm doing it, I'm over here, I'm doing it, and then Gary Jerry's like, yo, Tony and Emma Frost are about to get married, and he's over there going like, but I have Deadpool, and you're like, yeah, you do, and it's the best part of your book, and he's technically on another team that Gary Jerry's writing. Right. Like, how is he over here when he's over there? And
well, because that's not how comic continuity
no,
works.
But it doesn't make any sense because they get at the end of this book, they get portalized, they get taken to Russia.
I hear you, but I will not concede that point to you. That's not how comic continuity works.
All right. Well, but okay. So, but the thing is he's like, this is what's going on. Like, this book basically happens at the Hellfire Gala, this issue, right? When the Hellfire Gala happens, right, and the shit goes down, where's Deadpool?
When the shit goes down at the Hellfire Gala?
Yeah. That we've already read.
I don't know.
He's with Captain America building a team, getting ready to.
That's way after. You have no idea. That is weeks and weeks and weeks.
Is it weeks after? Are you sure?
Yes.
Well,
it
right now
feels that way.
Right. I don't know. I don't think so. But I didn't. This book.
That's not how comics continuity works.
Well, all I'm saying is this book does not feel connected to the Fall of X. It doesn't even feel connected to what Al Ewing and Karen Gillan are doing. Like, it literally feels like Benjamin Percy's in a corner writing by himself. And he's like, hey, remember that plot point with Colossus? We're going to fucking solve it now. And you're like, dude, it's over. Like, like, it is donezo. Why are we even dealing with this anymore? And I feel like X-Force, they're trying to get to 50 issues, right? They're just trying to get to 50 issues so that they can sell a thick-ass omnibus. Because it just doesn't feel like, yes, I want to know. I feel like such a negative Nancy this week, but yes, I want to know how we're going to resolve Colossus and how he's going to get away from his brother and the mind control. Yes, I want to know that Domino is going to find out his secret, which he starts connecting the dots in this issue. But it feels too fucking late. Like, we have moved on. There is a new precedent for X books, and we are still in the past on this book. And I am to the point now that I don't know if Deadpool can save this book for me to stay on. This might be my last issue. Oh. Like, I say that. I'm going to go 44. And if 44 still feels kind of disconnected and it doesn't feel like it was just kind of thrown together, because that's how this issue felt. You know, essentially, you know, Colossus is in charge of the X-Force. He tells them to not move on any command outside of his own, no matter what happens that night. Krakoa gets attacked, and they're all going, what do we do? What do we do? And he goes, hold strong, don't go, don't give support. And then finally, like, fuck this, we're going to go fight. And then he shows up, and he's like, hey, follow me, we're going in. After, you know, he already let everyone die 45 minutes before that. And then they run into a portal, and dun, 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 they're in Russia. There's his brother, and it seems like what he's doing is he's trying to bring the X-Force to Russia to get him unmind controlled, right? Like, that's what it feels like. Great. We could have done this issues ago. So I just...
Yeah.
It just was kind of boring.
Well, one thing about X-Force that really bothered me is I remember looking it up maybe 3 weeks ago. You know when this was first this writer, his brother sort of thing. You know when that was first brought into X-Force, first mentioned? Issue 6. I'm sorry, but this is not a good enough, strong enough, or important enough storyline to drag through 40 issues.
I agree.
Of any comic. Yikes.
Yeah. Well, and like
Yikes.
the previous arc was really fun, and it reminded me of the original X-Force stuff that we were reading at the beginning, right? And then we jump over to here, and it's like, oh, remember all this? I'm like, what are we doing? What are we doing? And Joe, I'm not trying to shit on it. I really aren't. I'm really not, because like Joe says, for me, and I'm just speaking for me, Benjamin Percy is the best writer in the X office. It's fun, easy to follow. It makes reading exciting. That's why he has a book in the 40s, in issue 40s. I'm not going to dispute that. I think X-Force needs to be done. I think the X-Force itself cannot exist in this current fall. I think we already have our ragtag teams that are, a mixture of Avengers and X-Men, a mixture of a new group. You know what I mean? Like, we have our groups. And I just think X-Force is just like, it's being sold because it's X-Force and not because there's any real continuity being connected.
But maybe, I mean, yeah, maybe that's the whole thing. Maybe that's the whole reason why, is because there's enough readers that are just like, I ain't gotta worry about all this other bullshit. I'm just gonna read Max.
Disciple, what you missed was
he hates Thor. He thought Thor. Oh, he hated Thor.
And I picked Marvel's Unleashed as my pick of the week.
He said Marvel Unleashed was a better issue than Thor.
As of right now, it was.
Any credibility this show had was just
Shut
gone.
the fuck up. Shut up. All right, let's get to last year, because this is like whatever those black machines were in the other world should be meshed with Sentinels. We should always get Stryker or Orcus, which we don't get. It's always boring. I also love this issue because we were coming to the end. The Sleeper Soldier Colossus garbage. This should have paid off more, and it should pay off into Sins of Sinister. Also, I thought Mikhail was I think got chopped off. Also, can anyone tell me why Colossus is forcing the Council to reveal Sins of Sinister to the world played in any part of the greater Marvel universe? Same thing with Axe. What greater consequence happened? Yeah.
None. That's what Marvel's doing wrong right now, is not having their events mean anything to anything else.
Yeah. He is trash grown man book, but he clapped for a kitty book. Yeah, you know what, Joe? I did. All right. Do you have a halftime question, Joe? Do you have a halftime question?
Wait. Did you not read this?
No, I totally forgot it. Like, it wasn't even in my. I didn't even do it on New Comic Book Day. How was it? Here, I'll put it.
Well, we don't need to go through the whole thing. It was not as strong as issue 1. This Moon Knight side series. You do get a big thing. We find out that the Pharaoh bad guy villain. Thing. Yeah, big thing. We find out that the bad guy in this is Mark's brother, who's dead.
Oh,
so he's like in this Shadow Realm dead thing. He's the one, and they're stealing children and stealing their hearts so that they can get past their like judgment or some shit like that. It was just a very heavy wording, very, thick. Very, very like thick, and it was just like, guys, like there's a lot of writing in here, and I like reading, but not this much. Not where there's more words and pictures. Not in my comic books. So that was that.
Jim, I'm not yucking on your yum. I'm having fun here. I know. John says, thank you guys for not covering Fantastic Four Contest of Chaos Annual. It was Ghost Rider versus Human Torch, and it was truly awful. Yeah,
that does not surprise me at all.
Make Marvel annuals great again. Because right now they stink. They stinky. All right, let's move over to DC with Dark Knights of Steel, issue number 12 from Tom Taylor. And I believe, was it last that said that you felt like it was kind of like a meh ending, and it just felt like it was kind of lame. I would agree with most of that statement. And to me, it kind of reeks of like, and I'm not saying this is a bad thing, but it just kind of smells of like, we're going to come back. We're going to do it. We're going to do a volume 2. We're going to do a part 2 of Dark Knights of Steel. Like, don't worry. But when is anybody's guess, right? I think the issue in whole, outside of Wonder Woman chopping off an alien's head and being like, your name will be remembered, or be made as an example, was fucking cool. Like, I thought that was really cool. But other than that, and also seeing Alfred, aka the Martian, die, I was like, dude, like, come on, man, we got our happy ending. What the fuck are you doing? And Waller, you're a piece of shit. And all that happening made me feel like, okay, we're going to return to this Dark Knights of Steel. Like, I have no doubt in my mind we will. The question is when. When will we get it? And I don't think we'll get it anytime soon. But, you know, Tom Taylor has an exclusive deal, so at some point we will return to this storyline. But I think issue 11 was a much more satisfying, like, kind of, even though it wasn't a conclusion to the book than 12 was. I think if you read this all together, the ending will feel very meh.
Yeah.
But
yeah,
Alfred dying, I was like, damn, dude, like, he's supposed to be in the next one.
I think whatever momentum this book had, it shot itself in the foot with whatever delays that it had. Now, again, I don't know whose fault it is. Well, we as consumers will never know whose fault it is, but someone killed this book and it didn't really deserve to die so much. Not to say that the book itself was a failure, but like, I think that this book could have been much more successful and had more like oomph behind it if it had come out in the 12 months span that it was supposed to have come out in. You know, I liked the open-endedness of this book. If you can believe what Tom Taylor says on Twitter, there are not currently any plans whatsoever to return to this series. They obviously will, but there are no current standings. Like Tom Taylor says, I hope I return here today, when he was promoting this issue. So there aren't any plans currently. But I like that they left it open to maybe come back here. I think the concept of these characters in a medieval setting is fun. Mm-hmm. I think we lost. That was what the identity of this book was the first 6 issues. And the last 6 issues, we were really focused on superpowers and aliens and people in disguise. And it's like, well, we already do that in our regular superhero book. I wanted to see the knights and the armors and the swords, like
the armies coming together and clashing.
Armies and like, that is what made it feel interesting. Not the aliens and the superpowers. I don't care about this. I already got my superpowers in my regular Superman book, so I don't know. I would say that overall, this story for me probably gets like a B- after having this ending. After it's all said and done.
Joe just like, Tom Taylor better be watching, because Joe says, I love they teased other kingdoms will come for them now because they're superpowers. I want to see Darkseid's kingdom come in. It would be epic. Like that. Yes. Like, let's get back to the armies. Disciple basically said the same thing as you said. As soon as we hit the white versus green Martian stuff, I was completely out of this. It's such a poor ending for me, unfortunately. And having started 3 years ago, a ridiculous momentum killer.
Thank you.
Yeah, it's all over the place. But I hope we do come back for sure. Halftime question from Joe. We are getting close to dawn of DC coming back. Which book are you excited for the most? It's a toss-up between Superman and Batman. And Batman, because I had to go buy extra reading material that Nate was like, you gotta go read Chip Zdarsky's Dark Knight because it's amazing. And I have it and I'm gonna read it. But those are the two that I am like super excited. Like, I'm tired of seeing Night Terrors, you know, and not picking it up. Like, I'm just like, I want to get back into just reading DC books. So yeah, I'm really looking forward to those two.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to to Batman because I'm really looking forward to this crossover event that we're doing. The I don't know, Catwoman Gotham War thing. Just because it's so self-contained, it's only contained within the Batman book, the Catwoman book, and then there's a couple of, like Alpha Omega's stuff. And then there's only one tie-in book, and it's written by Matthew Rosenberg, who I really respect as a writer. It feels like every time they bring him on to do something extra, he does a really good job. So looking forward to that, and then Action Comics. Particularly, I mean, all the Superman books are great, but I'm particularly looking forward to Action Comics. Mainly because Philip Kennedy Johnson's been running his mouth about this art, constantly saying, like, this is he's been writing the book for 2.5 years, and he's like, this is my favorite. Like, this is my favorite. So, whatever this arc is that's starting, seems like it'll be pretty exciting.
Last had a halftime question. You said halftime question. Writing in American comics is kind of on a decline. Do you see DC or Marvel having big contracts for writers and artists for long runs to compete with manga? I don't know about contracts. I don't know if I can even speak on that because I don't know if I'm smart enough to speak on that. But I will say, I think we will start seeing more storytelling styles that manga does that'll be crossing over into American comics. I think we're kind of seeing that. I mean, I think that's why the She-Hulk run currently is resonating a lot with me right now, because it's a total drama action. Like, it's got everything, including slice of life. And like, I'll be upfront. Right now, the manga that has my attention, like full attention, because there is a current anime of it right now that's in its second half of its second season, and it is still 32 volumes strong and going. And we are in American manga. We're at volume 20, and that is Rent a Girlfriend. I am reading that, and it is so goddamn good. Like, I would not think of it when I remember, like, when I started getting into manga this year, and really getting into it and buying volumes and, like, subscribing to certain books. I remember seeing that and going, like, I ain't fucking reading that. That sounds stupid as shit. And then I watched the first season and I was like, fuck, it's good. I'm into the second season, and now I've caught up to where the American volumes are at.
Yeah.
And it is so good, and it is a drama, slice of life, romantic comedy. Like, it's got everything. And so I think you're going to start seeing styles, that kind of those kinds of stories start to show up in Marvel and DC books. I think we're already starting to see it. And I'm not just saying that specific archetype of manga. Like, I'm even talking the action and the I was killed and resurrected back into another world as a vending machine kind of bullshit. Like, I think we will start seeing stuff like that, I think. And for better or worse. But I think manga is definitely going to influence what happens in American comics because of the amount of attention it's getting in the bookstores, at comic book stores, at Barnes & Noble. There's manga at Target. What the fuck? Like, that, you don't see that. There's manga at Walmart. You have Chainsaw Man at Target. Mm-hmm. And I think there is someone within the buying there that doesn't know exactly what they have on the shelves, because you can't have Chainsaw Man right next to, what's it called? Blue Lock about soccer. Like, you know what I mean? Yeah. And so, like, those things need to be wrapped in plastic so people don't, like, a kid doesn't open it and sees, a half-naked lady getting cut in half by a dude with a chainsaw on his head. Like, but it's coming and it's happening. So I think, now, as for the contracts, I don't know. What do you think about that?
Oh, I don't know anything about contracts and stuff. I think Marvel and DC will probably because they don't want to. I think that the idea of big names drawing in readers is dying down a little bit. To that aspect, I see what Last is saying. I will actually go the complete other end with a huge caveat. I will say manga, it will have nothing to do with American comics. It won't change one tiny itty bitty bit at all, because DC and Marvel are already starting to produce their own. They are in no way going to change American format comics to be more like manga. That's stupid. They're going to just make their own mangas. They're going to get David Papose and Torun Grunbeck and some of these guys that are not quite the A-list to just pump out all this stuff. We've got Deadpool manga that Marvel's pushing out that's already on its 4th or 5th volume. Look at that insert that we got from the shop. We got 3 weeks in a row trying to push the Joker manga, trying to push a Batman manga. Manga's not going to change American comic books in the slightest bit. They're just, DC and Marvel are just going to produce their own.
Counter.
Okay.
Nightwing. The art influence on Nightwing, when we get the little like manga chibi versions of Nightwing.
That's one artist's particular style.
I'm just saying, but it's a start. I'm just saying, and I'm not saying it's a bad thing. I'm just saying, like,
okay,
I think
so you're saying art style might start going into American comics?
Yeah, but and then I also think,
sure. I mean, you look at Peach Momoko, and she's obviously one of the number one cover artists.
And I think that's where it'll start. It'll start with art. No, and I think the way stories are told, I'm not saying it's going to completely revolutionize American comics, but I think you're going to start seeing more standard styles of storytelling within manga within American comic books. And I think it's kind of already here. I mean, look at what Rainbow's doing with She-Hulk. Like that book feels more like a manga than it does like this or Superman or Batman or even Iron Man. Like it just feels like a complete story, and we're getting a full rounded look at the character rather than got shot from the moon from a robot that I created as not myself but myself, and now I'm in an alternate dimension where everybody's on Venom. And like, what? Like like it's so just insane that it doesn't feel like it's connected to the main story. I don't know. I feel like we trailed off on that, but that's it. Go ahead.
Well, no, I feel like the manga stuff is still there. I do want to. Joe says I feel like Gotham is going to war every 20 issues. If the president of the United States and DC would assemble a team to take over Gotham, I agree. And I normally would not be as excited about this as I am, but it's Chip Zdarsky, Teeny Howard, and Matt Rosenberg. Those are the only 3 people writing on this, and so that makes me excited for the series. If it was almost any other team, I probably wouldn't be as excited. Like, another Gotham goes to war, but because it's Chip Zdarsky, I feel like he. Joe also said, I haven't read any manga, but what's so special about it? Not trolling, but they are pumping out random books with no prestige characters like Batman and Superman that will help sell the books. And I'm going to give it to you in a way that James won't give it to you, because James enjoys manga a lot more than me. And what is so special about manga? To me, the answer is not a lot. Almost nothing. The biggest thing is that they are doing story styles and storylines that are different than what American comics are doing. And they're doing them well. I will say that as a artistic medium, and you everyone has probably seen my manga art rant before, but at least the people that are watching the show, but manga art will never, and I mean never, be able to even touch the bare bones bottom of the grass on my feet art compared to American art. It is so far beneath American art, it's funny. And the way that they're produced, the way that they're chugged out in this mass market, small format form is one of the reasons why they are so successful, because you can get 8 to 10 comics worth of content in an $8.99 Tokuban. I can't remember what a pulp book, essentially. The art is small, the paper is bad, it's cheap, and it's easy to get a big story. Now, the thing that drives it is that these are good. The stories are good. If you're reading manga, you're reading manga for the stories. I unless you're getting I'm sure someone at me is yelling at me in chat, or you're yelling.
Oh, dude, Jaden's like ripping your asshole apart.
I'm
just
sure.
like, ah.
Maybe I got too intense with that, but it's just I just manga art to me
yo.
just never
Flick your hair and everything will be fine. Just do it. Oh shit!
I just
He's speaking.
someone said something. Jane says comics do need to make a change, and maybe they do need, but they absolutely shouldn't copy it. If I wanted to read a manga style comic, I would read a manga, and that's what I'm trying to say. Is that if I start getting my Superman comics once every 6 months in a black and white digest size pulp book for $8.99, I'll never read comics again. I'm done. I'm gone. I'm never. And I think the vast majority of American consumers would say the same thing because that's what we're used to consuming. I'm not. This isn't like a superiority complex because God knows I fucking hate this country. But that's neither here nor there. It has nothing to do.
Just as go, Nate. Let the hate flow through you. Do it. Okay. Well,
I am speaking. I am the.
This is why
Antichrist when it comes to manga.
When this channel.
Well, I have a whole shelf full of it, by the way.
Right. When this channel gets big enough and we're able to spend more time on what we produce.
I'll never talk like that again. I will sing the praises
No.
every dollar bill that goes to the channel.
We will.
No, of course not. I'll be serious.
We're going to. We need to start covering manga. I just think we do. Like at some point, we got to get to it.
I have a personal vendetta against manga because I have bad eyes and I'm an old man and I can't see the pictures.
We'll just get glasses.
No, it doesn't. I do have glasses. It doesn't help. I don't have. It's not like visual. I can't do like you look at an absolute cum shot of black and white lines on a page. Like you can't tell what any of that is. There's no depth. There's no perspective. There's nothing. I can't even see what the shapes are supposed to be. Ugh.
Nate will go all corporate when they go big.
Oh. On mangas, you better believe I will.
One of DC's best-selling books was Super Sons. The art was reminiscent of manga. This was great. This was a fun, silly goose discussion, and I'm glad we had it. Thank you for that halftime question. Our last book of the night, Doom Patrol issue number 5 of 7, Assault on Main Street. This was crazy cool. I know you forgot to read it. No, you're good. Essentially we have a corporation that is trying to create the ultimate metahuman that can adapt to any situation and basically be invincible to any kind of attack. And so we've got this. I mean, I know I'm paraphrasing it because I'm sure this character has existed before, but I'm just going off of what I had. Essentially, the Doom Patrol is baited into coming to the city to try to save it, but the city is actually being run by this like mad scientist billionaire guy who creates a metahuman that can adapt to any situation, but it backfires and her body like rejects itself because there's too many adaptations to deal with at one time, and she ends up becoming a human flesh blob. And so I'm not kidding, that was the book, and that just kind of speaks to how cool this book is and how this book deserves to be an ongoing and not a mini. I think Doom Patrol deserves their own book. I think they deserve their own damn ongoing. It doesn't make sense that it's a mini and that we're dealing with metahumans, which are essentially X-Men, DC's X-Men. They're mutants. So I enjoyed it. I thought it was a lot of fun. What's going on?
I am so sorry.
You're getting ripped, right? Yeah. Yeah.
I love it. Joe said manga is good poop reads. Leave it near the can. And then last said Nate won't see the Heaven's Gate. I won't allow it.
Yeah, Nate will never dine in the halls of Valhalla.
Joe, doesn't Doomsday Special come out next week? I believe it does.
Is it Doomsday Special?
Yeah, comes out next week. And yes, I'll for sure be reading it.
Well, what?
They will never dine in the halls of
Yeah.
Valhalla.
Yeah, dude. You're fucked.
I'm sorry, guys. I'm so sorry. I'll tell you, John. You make one point that actually will go in my favor. Where is that comment? John said manga is also not afraid to be unapologetic sexual to varying degrees. Comics seem scared. And while normally I would say that is a good thing, except I may not be the largest consumer of manga, but goddamn is most of that borderline illegal shit. Like it's really perverted and really like, yo, we're talking about underage kids here, man.
How
like,
do they
what?
do?
Like they're all in high school. They're all like, oh, I just started. This is my first year of high school, and then it's like, let's get sexual, and I'm like,
how does that? Yeah, but so how does that work? Like how is it published in the U.S.?
I do not.
So like, Rent a Girlfriend they're dealing with college students. Like, it's college, but I know exactly what you're talking about. What there are books where it's like I'm a my first year in high school, and then it gets like weirdly sexual. And like I know like the laws in Japan are completely different, but like how is it being published over here?
Wait, I gotta take a drink. You said.
What would you do?
We've started a tradition that every time we say Hickman.
Oh.
At least Joe and I do.
Right.
I don't know what did you ask me? What did you say? I'm so sorry.
I don't even remember. Oh, I know. It's how it's
my ass kicked here. Oh, the uncomfortability of the
like how is that?
I don't know. And there are things in I will personally lump manga and anime in most of the time. I understand that, but like they're also kind of not. There are certain things too that like make me lean towards manga because there are like cultural differences and like things that are obviously prevalent that will make anybody feel weird. I'm sure there are a massive amount of things that Japanese consumers or French consumers or German consumers see that have American tendencies or colloquialisms or like humor that are just like, yo, that's cringy. But like that's why I tend to be a little bit towards manga too, because some of the ones that really get me are like the weird sexy shit, because then I can just be like, oh, I will change that to a not a minor in my head, and maybe we can just sort of move on. I had more of a point to it than that, though. We kind of lost it. So
me.
Oh, John, I haven't read it yet, but I have it right here. I need to read it. But I have it. I'll be honest, I forgot, and then I was like, you know what? John's gonna ask me to read it, and I opened it up, and there's a lot of words in it. But I'm still gonna read it because you told me it was good. But there's a lot of words, and I didn't have time. It was only 30 minutes to the show. So.
That's funny.
But I will definitely read it. I've got it here, and I've got time to read it before the second issue comes out in September.
There it is. Yeah, dude, I'm in big Joe with like getting normal comics and manga right now. And deep. Anyway, that's gonna do it for this issue or episode of 23Pulls 146. We will have a new comic book day video coming out this Tuesday, but we will be taking the Labor Day weekend off, so there will be no live show. I am sorry to say, this Sunday, because also it's kind of a slow week next week. We do get a new Hulk issue, but other than that, there's not a lot. I mean, there's Ultimate Invasion 3, but I'm kind of meh on that. We do have Superboy number 5. It's just kind of, it's a little bit of a slow week, and also it's a holiday weekend, and I figured we'd take a little bit of a break and just take the weekend off. So there will be no live show. There will be no live show next Sunday, but there will be a new comic book day video that comes out on Tuesday. But just to kind of give you guys a heads up, kind of take a little break, but we will be coming back strong the next following Sunday for a live show. So just be prepared for that. Pick up Devil's Cut next week. Check out who's involved. Interesting. But yeah, so just to kind of give you guys the rundown of next week, there will be a new comic book day video on Tuesday, and then there will be no live show next week. We are going to take the weekend off to just kind of chill, relax, hang out with our family. So Just give you a heads up. Thanks to everyone that watched this live and who are subscribed. If you're not already subscribed, make sure to hit that subscribe button, ring that bell, and give us a like. It'd be much appreciated. And we will see you guys Tuesday, and then the not next Sunday, but the following Sunday for another live show. As always, guys, we will catch you guys in the next one. Be kind to one another and read more comics. Later.
Bye-bye.
So Hulk ain't worthy enough for a stream. All right, I'm out. I'm sorry. It's not that. We were just, we're just taking the weekend off. Like we'll hit it back.
What in the world?
What?
The people involved with Devil's Cut. Snyder, Phillips, Tinian. Listen, Tinian could write a story about a dude just sitting on a toilet all.
All right, how about this, chat? Do we do a live show Friday? Just a quickie? We'll see.